Hello everyone, Corpse here, bringing you another video tutorial. Today's video tutorial is on block breakdown. First, we're going to go over what is a block. Well, a block is either going to be static or somewhat dynamic code that is going to show up on your home page, but also on multiple other pages. It's just going to be a small block of code that is just going to take up a limited area and not be a full page, full-blown item. For example, like your home page uses a single module. On my local here, I am using the news module, which I believe is default. And then everything else you see, like the Donify, the theme switcher, the search there, main menu, forums, both forums, calendar, and all that, these are blocks. These are separate blocks of code that you can easily move around and have on either side, or just have no blocks on the sides. I mean, you could always easily change it to however you want it to look, but it's just a small block of code that serves a single purpose. And if it's going to have like more information, like the forums here, you would click on like the title or something. It will bring you to the module that is going to show you. So now that we sort of know what a block of code or a block is, let's create one. There are two ways to create a block. First way of block is going into the site administration. Basically, just click on this, click on blocks. It brings you to this page. And then what you want to do is down here, click Add New Block. Well, you have two things you can do here. You can find the file that you want to have and select that, or you can use your own code. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to give it a title, test 2. I already know that this title is not going to look good, but I'm putting it there for a reason. I'm going to show you why in a couple minutes. But down in this bottom section, as you can see, there is the BB code buttons. Unfortunately, I tested this out earlier and the BB code did not work for me. I don't know if it's just because of something on my local server, or if not all the BB code, and it was just a specific BB code that I was using, did not work. But I don't really use BB code that much. Usually I just click on this source code button, and then I just paste in my source code, which I write in HTML. And I mean, as you can see, you can switch between the two. How I could just paste it in there. And then once we do that, select, let's do center up, active, yes, and all visitors. With creating a block here, like you can have it set to any of these, and just let you know, with groups only. If you have multiple groups like I do on my website, here, let me pause and go to my website real quick. Let me say, okay, I want to have our survey right here, click the edit. I want to have this just set for only our members. I can sit there and select groups only. And I can say, okay, I want, holding left control, I can say I want recruiters, administrators, commanders. Let's let go of control so I can move down, client members, and then I would click save. But as you can see, I have those separated, highlighted. Now just say, okay, I'm looking at having recruiters through commanders be able to see it. Well, I can sit there and click on recruiter, but if I click on commanders, nothing happens. Now if I hold left shift, I can highlight all of those. So it will go from recruiter to commanders and highlight everything in between. That's holding left shift. Left control does individually. And that's add and remove. So just a little something there. Let's get back to here. Let's put this back on all visitors and click create block. I don't like it at the bottom, so let's move that up to the top of the center up. And let's hit refresh here. And as you can see, there it is right there. Now, I don't like this title, and I told you before that I already knew I didn't like it, but for demo purposes, we're going to have a title there. So how would I remove that title? We just come in, click the edit, highlight test2, hit delete, and save block. And as you can see, no more title. And if we refresh here, hit F5, title is gone. So that is how you would remove a title on a block that you're creating within the menu. Now, how would you go about creating a block file with a file? Well, to make things easier, I did make a block called Blank Block available to download on my website. It is in the Nuke Evolution Extreme 2.0.9D section under Blocks and Module. It's called Blank Block. The thing is, this will work on F. The changes between this and F, there are none as of yet. So all you would do is come in, select that, and click download. But we're not going to. Let's come back here and minimize this. I already have it right here. So if we open this up, you will see this code right here. The main section that you want to pay attention to is right here. So now what we want to do is put in the information here. As you can see, I do have the two contents right here. Basically say enter information here. This is just if you're going to put in text. I just wanted to get those in so you see them. But I also want to show how the concatenation works. You can see I have one content right here. It says content equals quote information, and then the very next one says content period equals quote enter information here. That is called concatenation. So if I wanted to add more, I would just basically copy this line and you can have as many as you want of these, but do not, by no means, do that. For this part on, you need to have periods. Only the first line that is being exposed or being printed does not need the period. Can you do this? Absolutely. You can run it with straight periods, but if you want to know more about this, you can look it up online, or better yet, if you come over to the Nuke Evo website, in a thread that I have, if you go to the forums on the Evo website, go to the tutorial section, go to adding CSS and jQuery, JavaScript to your custom module. If you go to that thread and scroll down, just underneath where you see option 1, 2, and 3, I actually go into the concatenation. I give a link if you want to learn more about it, but I do talk about it a little bit. And the options will show you what, like right here, this is where I first mentioned it. But these are 3 different ways to write the same code. And you can see that the second one right here, option 2, looks the best. This is the second best, and the top one is just ugly. So that is basically what the whole point of the concatenation is, and I do go over it in this thread. So be sure to check it out. I will be posting the link to this, and as well as the file to download here with the video on YouTube and on my website. So let's get back to creating this file. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use some code that I already have pre-done. I'm pasting it right there. So this is why you would create your own file versus trying to use the static version, because this makes it so I can have dynamic. And you can see that I have the concatenation going, but you'll notice that on line 8 and on line 12, I do not have the line 12. I do not have the period, and that's a little different from what I said. So before we go any further, I will talk about that. Using an if statement, if these are true, then it only reads these 3 lines. So technically, this is the first line, does not need the period. And this is the last line. But if this section is not true, then it will read this. And this line, line 12, would be the first line. Notice I don't have any content above it. So if I did have, just say, content like that, just say if I had that there, then yes, these would need to have periods in front of it because they would not be the first. This would be the first. And vice versa with anything afterwards. If I was going to do, if this stuff was the only stuff that was dynamic and I was going to have static information afterwards, everything afterwards would have to be with a concatenation like that. And I would just repeat that for every line I want to have afterwards. I don't recommend getting in the habit of here, let's just copy this. Do not get in the habit of doing something like this. So it's just one content for the whole thing. That's very bad practice, and it's very hard to find just a specific thing. I've seen people do it, and I'm not going to lie, I was guilty of this when I first started coding. It's really bad practice. Get in the habit of splitting up your code into separate lines. Makes it easier to read, makes it easier to find stuff. But now that we have that done, and I talked about that, I am not going to get into the actual PHP code. But basically, the way the system is if it's one of these 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it will show this block of code. Otherwise, it will show this block of code. So we hit Control S to save that. And since I did that on my desktop and not inside my local, let's just come over here. Let's just grab this. And it's called blank block. What we're going to do is add new block. Let's give this a title of test 2 again for this one. And we're going to find blank block right there. Set this to center up. All visitors. Great block. Now let's move that to the top. And hit refresh over here. And as you can see, test 2. Hello Corpse. Today's Friday. Have a great weekend. Yes, I know most of you will not consider Friday a weekend, but I used to, in my old job, I worked 5 days a week. And at the end of my shift on Friday, it started my weekend. So that's why it's there. But we sit there and let's say, okay, now let's get rid of this title. I don't like test 2 being there like I did before. So we come in here and like before, we hit delete. And I said, it's not going to be the same. And now you can see why it's not the same. Now it just automatically gives the name blank block. So if I refresh here, blank block. There we go. So I come back here. Now I click the edit button. Well, what if I hit that again and hit delete and hit save block? It comes back with blank block. Well, now how would I get that to stay empty? Well, the reason why it's doing that is it's grabbing the name of the file name, which is blank block. And I do want to go over that before we get any further. You'll notice that on some of these things, like blank block, there's an underscore. But then if we go to down here, where is it? I might be blind. I was just looking at this a little while ago. There are a couple of blocks in here. Here it is, link us, that has the minus or the dash. And the reason for the underscores is it creates a blank space. If we did a dash, it would be blank dash block. Like if I click on here and look, we already have that block, so I'll show afterwards. But the dash will be for the link us. You'll see that in that thing. So now how do we make this empty? Well, the trick is to use the HTML code for white space. So that's going to be the and symbol and then NBSP and of course semicolon. You put that in, hit save block. Now we have empty title. So it's technically not empty, but it is empty. It's the HTML hex code for empty space. And now we hit refresh, and there you go. As you can see, here's link us. You can see how it has the dash in the name. The reason why it doesn't show up there is the type of thing. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or any thoughts, suggestions for future videos or for future tutorials or even written tutorials, even scripts, if you have any suggestions, feel free to ask. Come over to my website at shotdomain.net and put in a request. Just let me know. And we'll see. Till next time, you guys have a good one.